This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning to everybody around the world, and welcome to a beautiful morning and a start to the day at Djuma Private Game Reserve. We are here at a waterhole watching the sunrise, and as you can see, it's picturesque. Not a cloud in sight yet. My name is Eric, and behind camera this morning we've got Gers. And like I say, we're at a waterhole, which is here on our left-hand side. We thought it would be a good idea for us to just come in and listen to the sounds of the bush for the morning. And one of the reasons why we've decided to come back into this area is, if you were watching yesterday morning, there was a lot of action that happened around this waterhole. There was lions all over the place. And this morning at roughly between 4 and 4:30, somewhere around that time bracket, we did hear lions calling. And I mean, we all heard it from indoors, so the sound was distorted and we couldn't pinpoint a direction properly. But this is quite a logical place to come and check first. You see the grey hair in there, still up in the tree, and it would have roosted in a place like that, and you can just see how thin the branches are around it, so it's quite protected from pretty much anything ground dwelling. So a curious leopard won't be able to get up there, obviously because the sticks and the branches will break first. But like I was saying, the pride that we heard calling was more than likely the Talamati pride, who had made a kill just off of Djuma, and I think that's the direction that we'll head towards and see if whether or not they might have crossed over again, where we'll get to view them. So if you have any comments or questions, please do so. Please send them through using the hashtag WildEarth on Twitter, or at FC on the YouTube channel. Otherwise, if you are anywhere under the age of 18, please send through your questions at kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. We always love hearing from you. We love your comments. We love your questions. Makes our job very easy. So please send as many as you'd like through. So yesterday, when was it? That was yesterday afternoon, we came past, and I was saying it would be nice to just, everyone who have been watching the Lapwing chicks, it would be nice to see if we can catch up with them, and I think I can see them. Can you see that blacksmith Lapwing? So again, quite far away, so I'm not sure how clear the view will be for everyone, but around so there, and then there's 3 piles of elephant dung. So zoom into the left-hand side one. There we go. So that's the adult, and look, there we go. There's the chick. You can see just in front of one of the adults there. So this chick looks like it's starting its day. So whilst we wait for the other one to appear, let's go and have a look at what the weather's doing in the different locations.
Welcome to bushwalk today morning, and the sun is just about to start popping out above the tree. Walk at Leopard Dam, and then we'll continue a little bit later towards fair is happening. In the meanwhile, we're also listening to a number of different bird calls in the background. So my name is JP Leroux, and behind the camera we've got BK. So our plan is just to first sit and listen a little bit, and then move on. Yeah. It's calling. Every morning we find that the call intensity is just becoming more and more prominent. Okay, there's something wrong with our pilot.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I am not stopping today because, as you all probably have guessed, I'm going to the gym. So I'm not going to stop. No time must be wasted. But my name is Lauren, and I do have David on camera once again, aka Darby, and we are ignoring the most magnificent sunrise, but timing is everything at this den. And just down in front of us, you will shortly be able to see the sort of pump house. I actually don't know what that is, believe it or not. It's just the structure. And that is Philemon's Dip. Now, the old hyena dens were just behind there, so it took a mere 4 minutes when you put your foot down to get to the other dens, but this den is much further. So that's why I'm just going to keep going for now. I really want to see Ribbon. I know that many people in the area, it's created a lot of excitement. Other people want to see her. So I just want to see what's happening, see if she's there, see if the cubs are out, try and get a view of them, and then naturally start to make space for other people. So that's my plan. Not that. Very much expected that, unless, of course, we bump into any other animals along the way. Lions, leopards. If Ribbon is not there, we shall absolutely pop in on Mrs. Wick. I missed my visit with her yesterday. And then I shall start just scratching around for signs of Kalamba. Michael Fleetwood, you are saying hyena cubs would be a plus this morning. Wouldn't it just be perfect? I think morning time is better. We got really lucky yesterday morning. And my eyes are watering. I'm not crying anymore, everyone, I promise. It's the cold. And I'm so glad we solved that mystery. I started to doubt myself. I started to get really frustrated. Darby knows, he was on the vehicle. And I started to think maybe there is no den. Maybe there are no cubs. And maybe the story is all wrong. But anyway, we solved that mystery, which is fabulous news. So I am going to continue to bumble south, and very shortly we'll be at the den.
Here we are. We are on an expedition. This is the expeditionary force. Behind me, we have seen Kalamba. We are very excited.
We know how important it is for young people to have a connection to nature through our live safaris. They are the future protectors of the planet. Over the years, we have been joined on safari by schools from all over the world.
We are live! We are live!
Seeing those students connecting with somebody lifetime in Africa, what else could you ask for? It's just an incredible experience for everyone.
Believe it or not, that is the dropping of a giraffe. Do you believe that?
Students, about probably 3,000 from New South Wales have just enjoyed this live streaming.
And we learned that some trees are male and female. That's pretty cool, right?
We were able to experience what it was like in South Africa and to see a whole lot of different creatures.
Hello, boy. You are a monster. And he's coming right up to us. Hello, boy. Oh, settle down. Settle down. He is very, very close. He's pushing his trunk against the car. You can feel the car moving. Hey, 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 hey. Stop that.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Alrighty. So like I say, it's time for us to move on. We're still quite close to the lodge. So we're going to start driving and we'll start heading north. Like I say, I really hope that we get the chance to see if the Talamati Pride have maybe crossed in. They were on a buffalo kill yesterday morning, so that's 24 hours already that they've been on that kill. Buffaloes are quite a big meal for lions, so they are probably still quite fat and lazy and sleepy. So they could, they're at the waterhole, which is a perfect place for them just to rest up and not move around too much. So we'll see. If we don't have any luck there, then we've got other plans for the morning. If you look on either side of the road, you can just see what it is doing and how much it is greening up so quickly. And it's all to do with that thing in picture, the sun. Sorry, I just want to see, there's something very red on this termite mound. That's sticking out. Is it red? Yeah, it is red. I'm gonna have a look there just to show you quickly. It caught my eye, and it's a bright red flower that's growing out of the termite mound. You see that, and it looks like it's part of the Scotia family flower. So its biggest cousin is a well-known tree in this area. It's called a weeping boerbean or a scotia, and this one is a dwarf scotia. So they're quite closely related, but obviously the dwarf is much smaller, but they've got a very similar flower, and that color is nice to see. It's that time of year, like I say, the signs of summer are definitely here, and you might find that snakes are starting to get more and more active, and there's a few different species, specifically things like black mambas and other types of snakes, maybe even cobras, will use those old termite mounds where they've got these exposed chambers to go in and rest up. And on chilly mornings with the sun coming out, you'll sometimes even see them poking their heads out. Sarah, we don't carry any snake kits with us, and the best thing to do is keep your distance for a snake. If you're not a professional and you don't know how to handle them, the best thing to do is just to not get into their space. And they're not an aggressive family. They're all just wanting to try and move away and move around people. And so we can coexist with them as long as we show them that respect and let them do their thing. They'll move away when they feel threatened by us, and everything should be fine. Yeah, so there are people, there are rangers who absolutely love snakes and know how to handle them, and they've gone through a couple of different courses to know how to handle and to move them around. But I'm definitely not one of those people. I'm quite happy to watch them from a distance, but as soon as they're close up, I'm not a fan. So one snake that I think is responsible for the most snake bites on a yearly basis is the puff adder. And the reason being is its style and the way that it moves. So it's an ambush predator, and it's quite a big beefy snake, so it's very fat. And it's a very slow moving creature because it likes to use stealth, and then it's got a very quick strike. And initially when you see it, people panic and oh, snake, but then it doesn't move. And then that confidence comes up and they get closer and closer and closer until eventually you're in that snake zone where it's feeling threatened by you, and then it will lash out. It's also, I mean, if it's hidden in long grass and it's resting and basking, there's always a chance that you might stand on it. But they're called a puff adder because it's quite similar, I guess, to that very famous rattlesnake where if you get too close, they shake their tail and it rattles. The puff adder will puff out and make quite a deep noise before you get close, and then that's to tell you to back off. Yeah, so we're moving away towards the boundary where we won't. So let's send you across to Lauren.
Look who's here, everyone. And she's in that plugging position. So the cubs are there somewhere. I imagine they'll be nestled under her, and they'll either be actively suckling or snoozing on a full milk belly. But they wake up, they sleep, they wake up. They're very young, just like a human baby in that regard. And tiny little tummies, so the tummies get full very, very quickly. So we're going to try and just sit here with her. It's still a one-vehicle lock, and at some point we're going to get movement. At some point we're going to get a glimpse of those two little black bears. And it takes time before we all get proper sightings of them. At this point in time, it's just going to be sporadic, brief sightings of the babas. But I think morning time is better for Ribbon. I think maybe nighttime, watching a sleepy hyena for hours on end. Ribbon, yes, you slept a lot yesterday. And this will be Davi's first time seeing them.
Can't wait.
Because, of course, the cameramen are part of it too. They sit and watch a sleeping hyena also for hours on end. But they will be there. This is very, very common of a new mother. They just plug that den. And it means they can get milk without coming out. Ruby, you're over the moon. I know, me too. And it's just actually such a random story how all of this came together. And I'm going to be honest and say this den was unknown to me. And it's so far off the road that I don't think, unless I saw Ribbon, I saw her mammary glands and the suckle marks, which is highly unlikely because I wasn't really seeing her, I don't think I would have pieced this together. She's really chosen a new den, a new spot. Unless we found her on the road and we followed her in, I really don't think I would have pieced this together. It's just such a lovely story how it all came about. And we're just going to wait for signs of movement. We'll keep our eyes peeled. FC will keep their eyes peeled, and as soon as there's a tiny little bit of movement of the cubs. You'll be right with us because that's all we're going to get. It won't last long. It'd be so nice if they come out with the golden light. But this is Ribbon's 4th litter. And she's suffered loss. She's done well. She's actually lost 1 per litter. It's just dawned on me now. Her first litter, she lost Lamula, but Tima's still with us. Second litter, she actually lost both, but she lost one first, and eventually Petty disappeared. Third litter, she lost Shimbulu to the Talamatis, and this is litter number 4. That we know of. But Ribbon was originally thought to be a boy. It was Tristan that discovered, there's mammary glands, this is not a boy. But for a long time, Ribbon was thought to be a male hyena. Isn't that terrible, Ribbon? You proved everyone wrong. You went above and beyond to prove everyone wrong. But Ribbon was miserable for a while. Some of you will remember during her second litter, she was the lowest ranker. She was being bullied. No one was really being nice to her. She was tiny. She's definitely put on a lot of weight since being the lowest ranker. And she just looked positively miserable most of the time, especially when she lost a cub. I know that sounds like I'm anthropomorphizing, but she just... Ribbon was not a happy animal. And it's amazing how she transformed all that. Life lesson for all of us. Be like Ribbon. I just hear all the birds waking up. Oh, many of you are just happy to see her. I know, right? Now, in months without seeing you, Ribbon, months. So everybody else but you. And it's actually quite a clue within itself. So when an animal goes off the grid, like we're used to seeing Tlalamba at least on a weekly basis. Somewhere she pops up on territorial patrol. But we were going to get some activity there. And when... no, it's Ribbon. I got it right there. I was like, it's a cub. No, it's not. It's just her. Okay. And Ribbon just disappeared for months on end. And actually, I should have realised that she's disappeared for a reason. We're seeing Ngwazi on his own a lot. Ribbon is either mating or occupied elsewhere. I should have thought of that. So, of course, we are going to sit tight here and hopefully those little bundles of joy will get moving shortly.
The WildEarth channel now runs for 24 hours a day and is filled with exciting wildlife experiences for the whole family. In addition to our twice-daily live safaris from Africa, we launched Sea Forest. Free divers explore the great African kelp forest under the water in Cape Town, while naturalists on the surface explain what we are seeing in real time. Our Escape to Nature series features exceptional wildlife footage throughout the day, and here you can immerse yourself in the sights and sounds of nature. And finally, a brand new penguin experience where you can follow the lives of a group of African penguins daily and in real time. If you want to join in on these experiences, then head over to wildearth.tv/channel to see where you can watch. Escape to nature with WildEarth. Staying one step ahead is the key to survival out in the African wild. And now you can stay in front of the pack with a WildEarth weekly newsletter. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer and you will get exclusive behind-the-scenes stories about your favorite guides and camera operators. Information about our upcoming plans and projects will be delivered to your inbox every week before anyone else. And you can hone your guiding skills by taking part in our Identify Me nature quizzes. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Guys, just watch what's happening. See, watch the elephant, watch the lions. See, the first ones to run are the cubs. Can you see them? They are right here. I'm not sure how scared you were, but I was quite nervous. But absolutely incredible.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Delivering 6 hours of HD wildlife content live every day is no small feat. It's a massive team effort and we all rely on one another. Cam ops have a bit of work to do in the morning, up nice and early, get all the checks out of the way and make sure we're ready to go live. Helping others fall in love with nature brings meaning to what I do. It's also a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I'm very happy to say that our plan had worked. This is exactly what we wanted to do, is come up to this area to look for these specific lions. And this is the Talamati pride who have killed a buffalo. And you can see this one male is showing himself on the dam wall. And so they've been here for 24 hours. And then there would be slight movements. I guess they would go towards the carcass to feed a bit. And they've got the water that they'll go and drink at. And then pretty much throughout a hot day like today, their only movement will be following the shade once it starts to warm up. And it will warm up quite quickly, actually. And I wonder, I mean, he is a young male who, yeah, I guess is at that age where probably not getting accepted too much within the pride. And so he's just on the outskirts and, I mean, quite safe there. So he's looking down towards the rest of the pride and if they decide to turn on him and display that they don't want him there, he's at least at a distance away where he can move away from them. And so what would have happened last night, buffalo got killed at the waterhole. They would have had a feeding frenzy, and from the first hour or two, most of that carcass would have finished. Now, as the sun started to rise and the chance of vultures coming out, the females, or probably the females, would have taken the carcass and dragged it underneath a thicket. And so that carcass won't be out in the open anymore. It will be within the tree line that's surrounding this waterhole. And it's just to try and prevent those vultures from seeing it. Because as soon as they do, they just all come down and swoop and wait in the trees around the carcass. And then that can bring unwanted attention to the pride. So, William, a young male lion, generally speaking, because nothing is set in stone in the bush, is usually kicked out at around about 2.5, maybe pushing 3 years old. And he's pushed out primarily by his father, so the dominant male within the pride, or the dominant males, or even the mother and the females in the pride. And these young males have got a ferocious appetite, and they don't really contribute too much in the way of hunting. And so they just basically take up space and are the first ones to rush in and make a kill, or make use of the kill. And once they get kicked out, he's more than likely got a few brothers within the litter, brothers or male cousins. They all leave together to form a coalition. And once they get of age, then they've got the numbers where when it's coming time, after probably 4, 5, maybe even 6 years old, when they're feeling big, strong and confident, where they can move into an area and retake over a different pride and start their own dynasty. It is one of the toughest times of a lion's life. I'd say it's a toss-up between this age, when they get kicked out and they have to figure things out by themselves, or when they've finished being the dominant males and are now too old to hold and challenge males for territories. And then at those two ages, the lifestyle is very similar, where they're nomadic, they're trying to avoid conflict, and they move around. Here he goes. So that might be the last of the view of the lions, unfortunately. But it's always a good idea. I mean, he is moving down towards some of the pride. But I think from this point on, you can just see how sunny it is, how there's no cloud in the sky. It looks like the only movement from here will be to go and find a nice piece of shade to rest up for the rest of the day. So I think it was nice to catch up with them, but unfortunately, if we sit around here, we'll be waiting for some time. I'm going to keep moving on. Let's go and see if Lawrence had any luck at the hyena then.
Oh, I love hearing that link. Lauren at the hyena den. No changes, she's fallen asleep. But don't worry, it's literally just a case of patience. Just waiting. They are there 100%. When a female hyena is in this position, in any den side, that's the sort of suckling position. So I think right now everybody's fallen asleep. But she's not just there to sleep, she's there for the babies. And once they wake up, they'll clamber all over our head. She'll give them a little grooming session, and that will be standard. Then eventually they'll go back into the den to sleep some more. And they do a lot of sleeping. And it's just going to be really fascinating to see the sex ratio, because naturally males and females, right across the animal kingdom really, from fish to flatworms to elephants to lions, hyenas, birds, they all have such a different role to play. Males are driven by different factors than females, and the same goal is the same, to reproduce. Okay, that was a brown head. That was our first little brief glimpse. They're all just cuddled up together there. And naturally, Ribbon's been successful with girls. Look at Intima, extremely successful. Petty sadly didn't make it, but she made it sort of past the cub phase, the young cub phase. And then as soon as she became matriarch, she gave birth to 2 males. I find that quite interesting. And there was a sort of theory for a while that once you become matriarch, you will give birth to females.
see one.
Where? Oh, okay. I missed that. You can see a little head popping up. Come on, little ones, pop up. That's what we're waiting for. Mary, that's a really good question, and to be honest, I'm not sure Ribbon had a name at that stage. But calling a boy Ribbon is slightly strange, I guess. Oh, we do live in a very fluid world these days. But I don't think, as a male, she would have been called Ribbon. I don't think she had a name. To be real with you all, people don't really invest in here in the spotted hyena dynamics and identification. A lot of people come here to see the big five. Want to spend time with elephants, they want to see the leopards, the lion, and we of course invest our time and energies in a lot of different species out here. The Wahlbergs, Missy's wig. Sorry everyone. Thank you, Davi. And the hyenas, of course, and we do identify them and we can identify them and we spend time with them, but it's not really commonplace out here. And I think it was only through WildEarth, really, that we started to name the hyenas, and then Ribbon became Ribbon. I think Ribbon's a fabulous name for a matriarch. I think it's great. At least we know they're awake. Okay, that was brief, but we definitely saw one little head. No den sight is easy, be it lions, when they're this young, leopards, hyenas, and they're not supposed to be easy. Hey, beautiful, did you forget that we were here? She's shattered, look at her. She's giving us a view. Where'd you get that name?
I didn't. Oh, Tabo.
Hado.
Tabo.
Tabo. Okay. Apologies. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. He would not mate with a male from another clan. But what you've got to remember is with the hyena lifestyle, males immigrate. It's more, if you're a male hyena, you disperse. Just like a leopard, just like Hosanna, just like what's going to happen with Maribs, Tavangomi, they disperse from their natal area or they shoot. And that's to allow them the opportunities to join a new clan. It's not an easy process. The clan will really make it hard work for them. And then you will have access to a new gene pool, new females. We think of Hart's brother Soul, and he joined the Elephant Plains clan. He was born in the Djuma clan. And it's just the life of a male. If you stay in your natal area, especially in a social animal, you don't want to end up mating with your relatives. And you will, naturally, it's a biological instinct. But in terms of the gene pool and the fitness of that pride or that pack or that clan, it's going to massively reduce the overall fitness. It's all about reproduction at the end of the day. You want your bloodline to survive and thrive. And Swazi doesn't look like he's dispersed yet, which is very unusual. And Ribbon will mate with the immigrant males. Immigrants always get first choice over natal males. So some natal males just love life. I mean, in Gwazi, he's nowhere near ready to disperse. But see, he gets to dispersal age and he's like, life is so good. I'm still the matriarch's son. I get treated so well. I'm dominant. I love the Djuma clan. He may decide to stay. They can stay. But their mating opportunities are dramatically reduced. Not many females are going to mate with them because they are Ribbon's son. Maybe the only females that would mate with them are the very, very low-ranking ones who really don't have much choice. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're going to continue to sit here a little bit longer.
If you are a WildEarth explorer, then we are excited to announce that there is another unique prize for you to win. Sign up to be an explorer before the 16th of October 2021, and you and a friend could be heading off to an eco-training ranger experience. This 2-night opportunity offers a living and learning adventure where you will combine seeing incredible nature with gaining knowledge on how animals live in the wild. You will approach dangerous game on foot, learn how to track, do some 4x4 driving, and have an exclusive opportunity to join the WildEarth team behind the scenes on the live show. After each action-packed day, you will relax around the campfire and listen to the nighttime choir of animal sounds before you drift off to sleep. WildEarth explorers, it's in your nature. For many years, WildEarth has taken viewers from around the world to the Mara Triangle, a place of majestic beauty and abundant wildlife. But it wasn't always like this. Before 2001, it was infested with poachers. Illegal harvesting and hunting was rife. Now the situation couldn't be more different. The hard work and dedication of the Mara Conservancy has revolutionized this magical land. But now, the loss of revenue from tourism has created a grave crisis. The Mara Conservancy needs help if they are to continue protecting the reserve and supporting the local communities whose livelihood depend on its survival.
We have a baby pangolin, a baby pangolin. This is off the charts. This animal is about from your fingertips to your elbow. That's the total length of this animal. This is unreal. This is unreal. This is unreal. This is like now my 4th Christmas in a week. We should do this more often.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
No movement yet, I'm afraid. I think everybody's fallen asleep. Ruben's fallen asleep and the cubs have fallen asleep. And just building on the sort of topic of males, again, as I mentioned, it's a very, very different life cycle for both. And male spotted hyenas become sexually mature, believe it or not, around 2 years of age. That doesn't mean that's when they're going to mate or even get an opportunity to mate, but that's when they do become sexually mature. And they can disperse anywhere between 1 to 38 months after sexual maturity. And that was in a really interesting paper written in 1986. 1986 was a good year. I was also born in that year. But really, dispersal is not fixed. It's not, at least in spotted hyenas, it doesn't mean, oh my goodness, looking at the clock, and 2 now, I gotta go. Dispersal depends on so many factors. So anywhere between 1 to 38 months later, they can choose to leave the clan and go join another clan, but it's not an easy process for them. Males have a really tough time in hyenas. It's not an easy life. Some of the females are not so nice to them, shall we say. You gotta really bow down and please them. Tonio. Hi there. Good morning. In terms of immigrant males, I really don't know. I'm very sort of lost with the immigrant males of the Djuma clan right now because we're not really seeing them. Some individuals, such as Kosa and Saka, have not been seen in so long that they are presumed to be no longer with us. It's very difficult to keep track of the immigrant males. But in terms of females, you do have the 5 adults. So you've got Ribbon, Intima, Heart, June and Corky. And then you have their cubs. Ribbon has Ngwazi, Intima has Ntambu, Heart has Gingarika, Corky has Braveheart, and June has Novella. And then you have the sub-adults from the previous sort of bout of cubs. And June still has Sutu. Sutu's very much still around. We still have Swazi and Indabele, who belong to Pretty. And Pretty is also no longer with us. She's such a lovely hyena. I was the last person to see Pretty alive, and she was not in a good way. It's sad. But really, that's the clan. It's not a huge clan. I mean, the clans up in the Masai Mara are much, much larger. But with the immigrant males, I know we're seeing Comet a lot. We still see Luca. We still see Kaikau. We still see Fika, I think. And naturally, Falco is around. But otherwise, it's very, very tricky to keep up with the immigrant males. I hope that answers your question. I often wonder what Swazi will end up doing. He just always looks like he's living his best life whenever we see him. And Indabele doesn't spend too much time with the clan, but she's very much part of it. I just wonder what will happen when Sutu and Indabele get a little bit older. Anika, you're asking where do hyenas go during winter? They don't really go anywhere. They just are around as they always are within their territory. We only see them when they're den bound. We only really get to spend this beautiful sort of moment with Ribbon because she's bound to a den. She has a responsibility to look after 2 little ones right now who really depend on her milk in order to survive. The hyenas are always around. You'll just find them sleeping in little patches of shade or thickets during the day, especially in summer when it's really, really hot. In winter, they're normally a lot more mobile, and the best sort of way to spend time with them is normally at a leopard's kill. They are heavily attracted to that scent. But they're around. They don't go anywhere. I did touch on yesterday, I do feel the Djuma clan's territory shifted a little bit, but that's also quite normal. Territories are not static. They don't become stagnant. They're very fluid and dynamic things. And that's why den sightings are so magical, because you can get to spend time with the clan. You can get to watch all the interactions, all the observations, get to see who's dominant, who's submissive, who's friends, what immigrant males are really hanging around. Oh, I forgot about Comet. I don't think I said Comet's name. Sorry everyone, Comet is a very prominent immigrant male right now and has been spending a lot of time with dear old Ribbon here. So once again, we're just going to continue sitting here until we get some movement.
We have a beautiful golden oriole here. Still got, that's good. It's moving around a big apple leaf tree. And yeah, it's just stunning light. There was actually 2 of them, and one was calling non-stop, but then it eventually flew away. So it must have been a pair. And it's a bird, it's a really pretty bird. We see it so often, and the colors are just so striking. And it's in this tree, and I think there's still a little bit of flowers on it, so that's probably what it would be mostly feeding on in this tree, on this apple leaf. But those flowers will attract insects, and so it will probably be eating a mixture of both flowers and insects within this tree. It's actually the best view we've had of it this morning because the lighting is so good on it, and it was first hopping around in the canopy where we could see it from time to time and see glimpses. Sure. It was flying straight towards us, and it has moved on, which is fine. We got a really good view of it, so I think we'll move on to, we have come past quarantine again to see if there's any sign of anything here, but nothing yet. We've just got here, so we'll take it nice and slow. Just listen. There, you can actually hear it calling quite nicely. But a very fluid call. I'm not sure where it is though. I think it's either in this tree or the tree behind us. And the lighting isn't good. The sun's in exactly the wrong place for it, so we won't get a good view of it, but at least we get to hear it. Very nice. All right, well, we had a good view. At least we got to hear them calling. Let's carry on with our game drive. It feels like it will start to get warm very quickly this morning. And so trying to find the cats early as possible is probably the best thing. So what we'll do is go and see if we can check up on those in Kahuma Pride somewhere around Treehouse Dam.
The WildEarth channel now runs for 24 hours a day and is filled with exciting wildlife experiences for the whole family. In addition to our twice daily live safaris from Africa, we launch Sea Forest. Free divers explore the great African kelp forest under the water in Cape Town, while naturalists on the surface explain what we are seeing in real time. Our Escape to Nature series features exceptional wildlife footage throughout the day, and here you can immerse yourself in the sights and sounds of nature. And finally, a brand new penguin experience where you can follow the lives of a group of African penguins daily and in real time. If you want to join in on these experiences, then head over to wildearth.tv/channel to see where you can watch. Escape to nature with WildEarth. We all have a busy schedule and a lifestyle which is confined to stress and tensions. For so many of us, the hustle and bustle of a tedious life has meant we have lost our inner peace. Traveling is an ultimate remedy that lets us unwind and helps us experience peace in the lap of nature. WildEarth encourages the benefits of travel by giving away an amazing prize every month.
I was totally overwhelmed to receive this fantastic prize of 3 nights at Chitwa Chitwa. WildEarth has been a lifesaver for us during the pandemic and has kept us sane. Thank you so very much, WildEarth.
Sign up to be an explorer today, and it could be you jetting off on an all-expenses-paid-for safari experience. WildEarth Explorers. It's in your nature.
Guys, have a look at what we've got. This is better than my birthday. Look at that. This is the first time that I ever see cubs this small. This is so special. This has officially just become my best sighting of all times.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
I can actually hear another hyena calling in the distance. But Ribbon hasn't. She's not bothered. But at this stage, this is very much the NATO den. And I know it's the NATO den because of what I'm aging the cubs at. And she doesn't need to bring all the clan members here yet. And Ngwazi knows, but that's because he's her son. And Tima might appear one day, but she doesn't need all other clan members here. It's just at this stage the cubs are so young, so weak, altricial. She just needs to keep them protected until they're mobile and they're really moving around the den. And then, of course, she may keep them here or she may move them to a communal den. It'll actually be really interesting to see what she decides. Most likely she'll move them, I think, especially for hygiene reasons. But I also said that there will be no cubs until early next year. I could be wrong. Black widow spider, no, we don't. We don't. Pumela, from my side, has been missing for a very, very long time. I can't even remember the last time I saw Pumela. Pumela was really, really bullied by Gingarika. Gingarika's a feisty one. And it is assumed that he's no longer with us. But to be honest, we don't conclusively know that. But I think we would have seen Pumela by now, especially with either Gingarika or Hart. Trishala once said she saw him, but she possibly did. But from my perspective, I haven't seen Pumela since the den days, really. It's been a really long time. And I'm just wondering if we didn't make it. It does appear that all the 5 adults only have 1 cub now. There's no female with a litter of 2 remaining. And we do know what happened to Shimbulu naturally, but with Pumela, it just seems like he vanished. Beverly, you're saying being a mom is hard work, and Ribbon
Needs her naps.
needs her naps. Absolutely. And especially with twins. I'm an auntie to twins. Double trouble. Absolutely. It's an exhausting process for them. The cub survival rate is very low during the birthing process if you think about what they've got to go through. They've got to go through a very, very tricky birthing canal that takes about a 90-degree bend. And then, of course, the pseudopenis is very narrow. It's really not easy. It's only about 1 inch in diameter. And Ribbon's got to go through that. So the chances of one not making it in hyena births are actually very high. And she's done a good job. And she's got to get food. And she's got to keep coming back to the den to suck. Oh, you're right, Beverly. She's exhausted. But I don't think she's been here all night. Ribbon's nocturnal. She would have been busy during the night and then come to the den as that sun is starting to come up. We may not even be lucky. We may not get any more views. I think we will. We also might not. And it's really just a patience game at this stage. But give it a week's time and we'll be seeing a lot more of them. I wonder if Nkwazi's met them or if he just knows where Mom is. He'll have an understanding that it's a den and there are cubs inside, I think, but I wonder if he's actually met them. That'll be a sweet moment. Believe it or not, it's very similar to the cats. It's really important, or the most important thing is that the health of the mother is really strong so that she's producing really nutritious milk, because it's the only thing the cubs are getting right now. So for Ribbon's sake, I mean, she has her cubs stashed in a den. They're pretty safe. For a leopard's sake, it's slightly different. They don't really keep their cubs in den sites like this. It's more in sort of drainage lines or thickets. But as long as the cubs are safe, the mothers still need to go and eat. But I think Ribbon will not leave them for more than 24 hours for sure. This is also her resting spot. And if a predator came right now, the cubs are inside. They're not going to get the cubs. They are pretty safe at this stage. But she will leave them, absolutely. And they also have to learn that life of feast or famine. As a hyena, as a leopard, as a lion, food is not guaranteed every single day. It's important to learn that young. Boris, you're asking about warthogs. Not really. I mean, warthogs will not come by when Ribbon is here, that's for sure. And I mean, I guess a warthog could go into this burrow and injure the cubs, but they will be very cautious also at this stage. Warthogs will most likely come and smell a really strong smell of hyenas and have an understanding that they are in there. But I guess, yes, I mean, we had that sighting of June. It was Sabi and I. When June clearly didn't realise the cubs had moved and went to the den, and out came the warthogs. But I think the hyenas moved first and then the warthogs moved in. So not really, but I guess it's a possibility. Okay, we're going to continue to sit here a little bit longer.
Our lives are dictated by alarm clocks, traffic jams, constant multitasking, and countless distractions. The wilderness is where many of us feel the most human. On a bushwalk, we become part of the natural landscape. As you step off the vehicle, everything comes alive. As with any risky experience, walking amongst these animals inspires awe and appreciation. Now, it's your turn to go on a bushwalk. Join us from Pride Lands as we slow down our thoughts, put aside our distractions, and reconnect with a place that first taught us how to be human.
Look at this, the little one is up and about. Certainly hasn't had enough milk at this age. No amount of milk is enough. Oh, Corky. Too sweet. Oh, look at this. That is stunning.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
We are now with a different pride of lions, the Djuma Pride around a waterhole. And it's a really nice view of them because they're still finding it cool enough to lie out in the open. And so we're getting this beautiful scene of them and the reflection in the water whilst they're waiting for the day to warm up. One thing that I'm very glad about is that we didn't wait for them to get active last night, because if they had gotten active, they would have walked a total of maybe 100 meters and then came down to the waterhole to rest. I can count as I'm sitting here. This is our first view, so we will move around a bit and play with different angles to see who is here and what we can see, but I can count at least 7 of them so far. So there's that one in the bushes, and then 2 to the right of her, and then there's another 4 on the left-hand side. But they all seem to be similar age, and I haven't seen the big females yet. And so it has me thinking that they might have left to go off hunting last night and left these sub-adults here around the waterhole. Only time will tell, I guess. So as we're playing around with different angles, we might find that they are resting, but maybe lying in the grass and in the shade already. So they're just responding to noises around them. You can see those are 2 young males, and both very similar size. And we were answering a question about what will happen and at what age will these male lions get kicked out. And I think these males have got a bit longer to go than that male we had this morning. They look a bit smaller, but this is a nice view of them because you get to see that at least those 2 and quite possibly the other 2 that are around this waterhole will all leave together. So, if everything goes well from now until the time that they get chased out, it's potentially 4 males that will form one coalition. You can see that female on the back of her legs there. Still got a bit of spots, which is quite a good indication of age. Yeah, so there are more lions around. So it might be the whole pride. So the females look like they are still here. But what I'll do is start up, and now we can play with the different angles and see. It will be quite cool to get lower than them so that we'll be pretty much eye level with the lions. And it's always such an interesting angle because a lot of the time when we're on a vehicle we shoot down and we look at especially these cats from a slightly higher angle. But for us to be a bit lower and looking eye level, even slightly up, just creates a much different perspective. And for photography, if you're taking photos and you enjoy taking photos, that's the ultimate goal, is to get shots like that. So I'm going to come in here and actually, no, I'm not going to reverse in because then we'll have the sun right in our faces. Might just, this is a really beautiful angle here. So now you can see them quite nicely. It's a cool shot of the 2 a bit higher up. These are 2 brothers and it looks like they're spending some good bonding time together. So there's one good comfortable pillow there. So Karen, lions are just like house cats in the way that they don't really like spending time in water. It depends in which areas they come from. In the Okavango Delta, lions need to cross water channels because that's just what they need to do. So they become more used to water there, but even still, they prefer to be dry. In this area, lions don't need to cross water channels. There's always a dry section of land that they can move around in. And that means that they won't spend time in water if they don't need to. From time to time, they might have to cross. So within the Sabi Sands, we've got on the southern side, there's the Sabi River, which is quite a large river that flows pretty much throughout the whole year. And then from it, basically for most of the way it runs north to south. We've got the Sand River closer to the western part of the sands. So it goes north-south, and then it takes a big bend to east-west, and then it goes north-south before it links up with the Sabi River in the Kruger National Park. And there they'll have to cross. But like I say, it's literally just like a walk across, maybe get their feet wet. Sometimes they might have to swim if the river's flowing, but then it's literally straight across. They won't spend too much time in the water playing. I've seen hyenas in water a lot, especially on a hot day. They'll take advantage of the cold water, and then wild dogs will also. Those are the two predators that predominantly spend time in water. Awesome. So Gert has actually just spotted one animal that we've been following quite closely over the last couple of days. So you'll see here, and I mean, they must just be so used to the vehicles, because this is a red-breasted swallow. And if you were with us a few days ago, we were actually watching them collect mud, and this is by far the closest view we've had of them. And off they go. So we actually, about 3 or 4 days ago, we tried our very best to see if we could follow them and follow their flight pattern to work out where they might be nesting. And we thought we had narrowed it down, but unfortunately we saw them flying across a road into a rather large block. So they're still building the nest, so I guess it will take them probably close to about a week or so to build. But they will be coming back from time to time here. And so whenever they return, we'll quickly show you and just watch how they collect it. It will be the best view that we'll have ever of red-breasted swallows. And it might even be nice just to swing past and see what the aftermath is and what the tracks of them landing and collecting those little mud balls look like. Especially because these lions aren't going to be doing much, so that's a really cool view. So these two could very well be brothers. Paula, yeah, exactly. They are very cuddly, and they are by far the most social cat that we have here in Africa. And yeah, I guess pretty much around the world, if you look at any wild cat, no other cat hangs around in big groups like a lion does. And for you to be social, you've got to have strong bonds between one another. And this is exactly what this cuddly time does, is it just helps reaffirm and strengthen those bonds. And like I was saying a bit earlier, it's those two, they're brothers, or they could very well be brothers. They might just be cousins, but they at a certain time are going to leave together and form that coalition. So they need to understand each other very, very well. You know, there are 4 males here. And so they could start off in a 4-male lion coalition. But 4 male lions, so there's lots of competition, especially when it comes around to feeding, like we were saying, and to mating. which is probably even more aggressive. And there is the chance of them splitting off, so they might just split off and go 2-2. It is something that we see quite often with the larger of the male-lion coalitions. Now I wonder, obviously it's been almost 12 hours since we have seen them, and it was right in the middle of the night that they would have been moving around. And you never know, they could have tried their luck at hunting, especially if things were coming in and around the water. It just seems like they didn't move very far at all. It's a nice view of that one male. He's just picked up his head. Look at that face.
The WildEarth channel now runs for 24 hours a day and is filled with exciting wildlife experiences for the whole family. In addition to our twice daily live safaris from Africa, we launch Sea Forest. Free divers explore the great African kelp forest under the water in Cape Town, while naturalists on the surface explain what we are seeing in real time. Our Escape to Nature series features exceptional wildlife footage throughout the day, and here you can immerse yourself in the sights and sounds of nature. And finally, a brand new penguin experience where you can follow the lives of a group of African penguins daily and in real time. If you want to join in on these experiences, then head over to wildearth.tv/channel to see where you can watch. Escape to nature with WildEarth. Helping kids to fall in love with nature is critical. Our future depends on it. WildEarth has had the opportunity to take many children from all over the world on safari, some from right here on our doorstep.
Welcome to those of you watching from Hananani Primary School, just outside Dixie Village.
They love learning about nature because, now we're having a crisis of rhino poaching. We all need each other. So it is very, very important for the kids to learn about animals, on how to save them or even to protect them.
My favorite animal is an elephant because they are very cute, although they're eating the trees or the plants. But they are still very cute to me.
The way they explained the animals, asking questions, and we saw our names on the screen, it was so exciting.
The croc is still holding another one there. It's holding from the hindquarters. I would really want the wildebeest cross. Is it trying? The croc is holding the tail. It's holding tight. Oh no. Goodness me. Lucky wildebeest. You have another day to live.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Not much change. She's in a deep sleep. We are going to get there. One of them will stretch or move. Someone's going to move, and then it'll cause all three of them to wake up. But really, this is probably her falling into quite a deep sleep, as I mentioned earlier. They need to sleep. Being active all night, at some point you're going to need to rest, and before it gets far too hot, that midday heat, now is really the perfect time to catch up on your snooze. And it may not be the most riveting stuff to watch, but once we get the views, it'll be completely worth it. Yesterday was brief, so we're just trying again to see if we can get anything more substantial. But the more time you spend at a den, it sounds crazy, the more you learn. Start to see others visiting, hear sounds, watch behaviour, identify the sex. It's a process, visiting a den. Not just with hyenas, with any animal really, or with any predator. You can see she's perfectly in the shade. As the sun gets higher, it's going to hit her though, and she'll get uncomfortable. You would be forgiven for not even knowing that that is a spotted hyena. Mercy, you're saying, thank you for all the hyena info. You totally love them now. I'm happy that you love them. Many people don't, and I guess den sightings, those are the opportunity to change people's minds. And I'm happy, I'm glad you love them now. They're just so entertaining. And so highly intelligent. I don't think we can even begin to understand their intelligence. And to be honest, quite utterly bizarre. They are bizarre animals. Everything about them is bizarre. The way they walk, the body shape, the genitalia, the behavior, the greeting ceremonies, they are weird. But that's why I love them. The fact that they have a matriarch, they have someone at the top to assert top-down control. And I guess I love the power of the female. It's all about the females in this sort of matriarchal society. Really, the males don't stand a chance. If the females don't like you, oh dear, you're in trouble. Okay, I'm very much hoping in the next short little while we do get some activity from Ribbon and Co. But from now we are going to send you across to Eric and Co.
We've got one of the first lions who have decided to get up and move towards the shade, and I think that's going to be the trend for the rest of the morning. At least there's still this young male who's got his head up, and what's quite surprising about him is for his age, the colour of his mane, and they usually will be it literally just looks like longer hair around the chest, and it's the same colour as the side of the face and the shoulder there, so that typical tawny colour. But this one's already at this age starting to get grey, and that's probably only going to get darker and darker and darker until eventually it becomes a really big black, if not all completely black, at least partially black mane. So it won't really get to the same darkness as that black behind their ears, but it will get quite close. So Margie, oxpeckers, remember we say like their primary source of diet is blood, and that is usually done by eating the ticks that are on these animals. And lions do have ticks, but not very, very many of them. You know, they're quite effective at cleaning themselves and grooming themselves, so they don't really have a lot of ticks. So even if lions accepted oxpeckers and allowed them on themselves, the oxpeckers wouldn't really be able to get too much in the way of finding ticks. We've got these red-breasted swallows again, and it's actually looks like there's a few different pairs. We think there might just be, there's at least 2 different pairs. And look at them, they are right here. There's that one that's perched up. So there's 3 of them. And this one's, just look at that. You can actually see, I bet you've never really noticed, if you've seen red-breasted swallows before, their white feet. It's the first time that I'm noticing it, and it's only because we are literally less than 3 meters away from them. And yeah, this one's actually circling back, so it might land again. So there's at least 2 pairs that are here. Very nice. So it takes a lot of effort for them here. I mean, they've been coming back and forth every few minutes on a daily basis at the back here. Yo, this is a good angle because it's facing towards us now. Watch what it's doing. And off it goes. So if you look at the size of that bird, it has to obviously build a cup that fits it in, and these red-breasted swallows will build a longer, slightly elongated entrance, so more like a tube. And so it's literally having to collect that mud, and it's taking it literally ball by ball. And that's why they have to come back so regularly. And I'm sure they have to, once they've collected it, they're going to have to fly straight towards the nest as quickly as they can, because they don't want it to dry up too much. They need it when it's still sticky so they can build it effectively enough. Yeah, Sandy, these young males are going through a very interesting phase of their lives, and they do look quite pretty. Sometimes they do look a bit awkward though when the mane is not quite filled out yet, but he's still got a bit of time to go before he looks in that awkward phase. It's when they've got that mohawk. And the mohawk is almost so tall that it like flops down to the side sometimes. And there's no hair by the ear. So that's him just watching. There was a grey heron that took off. He was watching it fly. And this one here, the second one in view, its eyes are very light. It's like a yellow color eye. also got quite a dark mane for his age, and he overall looks slightly more tawny than what his brother looks like. This is the first time that that male on the right that we've been watching so nicely has actually put its head down. So he's been watching around and following all of the activity that's been happening around the waterhole, and now he's just decided to put his head down and rest. Incoming swallows. So that's why we were so hopeful. I mean, they are coming back every few minutes or so, and so we really thought that we had a chance of finding the nest. But these swallows, I was reading in the app about where they nest, and sometimes birds have got quite specific categories that they need. But these red-breasted swallows seem to take any opportunity, and so when they're out here in the bush, they'll build nests from anything like from in old termite mounds, abandoned aardvark burrows, fallen over trees. So I mean, and that's pretty much what we find all over the place in this area. So it's not like we could narrow it down to one or two different suitable nesting sites. They're pretty unselective. So you see what I mean? That's all that they're able to collect. That's as much as they can carry in their beaks. And so now he has to fly all the way back, construct it, put it onto the nest, and then make that trip all over again. So that takes up the majority of their time, and then they have to factor in feeding. They have to keep their strength up and their energies up. So I wonder if maybe they don't just spend more time on their way back towards the waterhole feeding on the little insects that they might encounter. I love SA. I'm glad you like this pride, and this is the pride that I've spent the most time with since I've been here on Djuma. And for the first couple of times I've seen them, they were on Chitwa, and it's since yesterday morning. It's the first time that they've been on Djuma since I've been here. So it's nice to see that they're back. As far as I understand, they used to spend a lot more time on Djuma than they have been recently. So it's good to see that they're back on their old stomping grounds. So you can see that female that was lying here is now gone. There's one just behind the bushes there, and then the two males. And we think that we actually saw the old females, but they're in a spot where the view isn't so great, so we thought we'll just stick this view out and show you the best view that we have.
Operating for 27 years, Eco Training is the pioneer and leader in safari guide and wildlife training in Africa. WildEarth has been working closely with Eco Training to promote the safari guide industry and create awareness for its importance. This is why, for 1 month only, we are offering all WildEarth viewers an opportunity to receive a discount on an Eco Training safari guide course. Contact Eco Training today to find out more, and remember to quote Eco Wild Live to receive your discount. Do you dream of traveling to a far-flung wilderness location where life continues as normal? A place where you can escape to nature and breathe. If you become a WildEarth explorer, then this could soon become a reality. Subscribe today and stand a chance to win regular travel prizes. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Hello, Mama. Just checking us out, everybody. There's no aggression here. Very relaxed. A herd of elephants moving around your car like that is truly, truly magical.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
The bushwalk feed allows the camera person some creative license. This is my favorite style of shooting. You have to be mentally and physically prepared. You're shooting handheld in some very strange and contorted positions, always with a straight back, often in the squat position, low to the ground. The creativity comes down to the relationship and sync you have with your presenter. The more you understand each other, the more you'll be able to tell the story seamlessly.
Hi everyone. My name's Daniel Fisher and I'm going to be your guide this afternoon. I'm looking really forward to taking you through and showing you all the beautiful places here at andBeyond in Ngala. If you have any questions, please register on our website. Once registered, go to the live page feed and post your questions underneath the live feed. Join me on my next safari through andBeyond in Ngala on WildEarth. Send me live questions through the WildEarth website and I'll answer them live from the African bush.
We have literally not had a spot of movement. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place now because we've come this far to get views. If I leave now, then it's frustrating, but then also looking at a sleeping hyena's ear, even though it's a magnificent ear, for prolonged periods of time is also not amazing, so I don't know what to do. Missy's wig is not too far away. I want to see her. I want to check on any activity with the Wahlbergs, also not too far away. But what do I do? I feel like we've come this far. She absolutely is going to wake up, 100%. She's in a deep, deep sleep, completely not fazed by our presence or my voice or anything. And the cubs are obviously curled up and just happy to be cuddling Mama. And it's actually quite amazing, the relationship cubs have with their mum for a prolonged period of time. If you think about Nkwazi, he's now over 1.5 years and he's running about wild. He's been found with Gingarika, he's been found running around with the males. He's really everywhere. He's calling. He was found in our camp the other night alone, so he pretty much is a little independent youngster. But he still has a really, really tight bond with Mom. He still is her son. That bond doesn't disappear in hyenas. Another thing that's very, very beautiful. Even if you look at Ntima and Ribbon, they are still very, very close in their relationship. even although Ribbon has gone on to have other cubs since then. And they're strong bonds. Judith is 16 weeks. So 4 months. Just a little bit longer than the likes of the lions and leopards. So hyena cubs are born quite well developed, but still not precocial. I mean, they are covered in hair, but their eyes are not fully open. I read in some textbooks, eyes fully open, but not quite. They're definitely not as closed like the leopard cubs are, but they're not fully wide open, and they do have tiny little teeth when they're born, so they're definitely more precocial than the cats. But they're still outricial in that they are weak, they can't really move very far, they're wobbly, they need to be stashed in the den, so within that regard they're not very well developed. It is 16 weeks. And just like with other animals, it's very difficult to tell when a hyena is pregnant because sometimes they look pregnant after eating an entire impala. Oh, what do I do? Got just over an hour left. We've come this far. I'm wondering if Ribbon will only really wake up when she gets too hot with the sun on her. Many of you are saying, cubbies, please come out. I mean, they're there. They're just obviously in a deep snooze. And it's nice to know animals can sleep so deeply in your presence, wild animals. I mean, she can hear us. We've been here the entire morning and she's just fast asleep. But Ribbon, are you really going to give us no views, girl? Okay, we're going to make a few decisions as to what to do here, and we're going to send you guys over to JP on Bushwalk.
Welcome back on Bushwalk. We've been following some tracks of elephants for approximately 2 kilometers. They had a quick drink at one of the dams and then started moving off. But we're just quickly taking a break as the camera pack as well as my backpack gets quite heavy after a while of carrying those. So before we move on, there's just a few questions which we've been receiving that we'd quite particularly like to answer. So one of those questions comes from Bakong, and it's regards to porcupines. Good morning, Bakong, and welcome to the show. And the question is as follows. Do we often find porcupine tracks, and are we able to track them down? We actually do find a lot of porcupine tracks, but we actually don't track them. We do know where the dens are, so there's no purpose in trying to track them because we know that they're in the den during the daytime, so there's little chance of actually seeing them. And then the next question was with regards from Glenn, and it was if the animals that we see out here actually recognizes us. So to answer Glenn's question, once again, good morning, Glenn. The answer is very simple. We actually avoid any form of contact with animals, and the animals don't become aware of us when we are viewing them. And we normally do that and view them from a position where they can't see us, neither can they smell us. So it's very unlikely that any of those animals will recognize us, as they're also wild animals and not animals which are humanly interacted with in a way that it would be at a theme park. So we're going to start moving on and go and see what else we can go and find, as it's getting quite warm, and those elephants are seeming to have quite a nice little pace that they're keeping up. So yeah, let's see if we can catch up with them. Unfortunately, with elephants, they don't stop when it gets warm, as they've got the ability to move around in the heat. If it was lions or leopard, it's fairly easy. By now, they already would have taken a break.
The WildEarth channel now runs for 24 hours a day and is filled with exciting wildlife experiences for the whole family. In addition to our twice-daily live safaris from Africa, we launched Sea Forest. Free divers explore the great African kelp forest under the water in Cape Town, while naturalists on the surface explain what we are seeing in real time. Our Escape to Nature series features exceptional wildlife footage throughout the day, and here you can immerse yourself in the sights and sounds of nature. And finally, a brand new penguin experience where you can follow the lives of a group of African penguins daily and in real time. If you want to join in on these experiences, then head over to wildearth.tv/channel to see where you can watch. Escape to nature with WildEarth. WildEarth knows it is critical to help as many young people as possible to connect with the natural world. We hope that by bringing the wilderness to our future conservationists, we will inspire a love for nature and perhaps plant a seed which will flourish in the future. Over the years, kids from countries all over the world have joined us on safari.
I really enjoyed learning about the leopards and the cubs and how they hunt and live.
We got to see different types of antelopes, and we also saw our male lion's tracks.
I got to learn about like different types of animals in their natural habitats.
It was like we were on a real safari, so it was kind of cool. We got to see a lot of unique animals.
That whole safari live video just inspired me to fulfill my dream of becoming a safari guide as well.
Something very, very interesting. I didn't plan this, but this is a scene, rarely seen. This is what we call a journey of giraffe. So beautiful.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
So, this is again one of the first times we've seen this lioness moving around. She has been sleeping the whole morning, and we've finally come to the time where it's getting too hot for the lions to feel comfortable out in the sun. So they are moving into the shade one by one. so I doubt they're going to be moving around anytime soon, but we do have the swallows back and they are constantly entertaining us. It's really cool to see them for so long. They've just flown away actually, but they'll be back. I mean, they're back every 4 or 5 minutes. It's really cool to see because the one lands first and the one circles, keeping watch, and then as soon as it's confident they'll both land, the first one who's been collecting the mud for the longest then takes off again, and it waits for its partner. So it does these big circles and waits until the partner's collected enough mud, and then they all take off and both of them fly off in the direction of where they're building the nest together. So this is the male who lost his pillow. He's been resting on his brother the whole morning. Pretty lions will sometimes hunt snakes. Well, not, I wouldn't say actively hunting snakes. You know, if they walk into an area and they see a snake, they might be curious, especially at an age like this where they're investigating everything that's going on around them. But you know, they're not dummies in the bush, I guess, and they will recognize that a snake is a threat. And you know, one snake bite can potentially kill a lion quite easily. So they'll take it very cautiously, and I don't think they'll actively go off and find a method to keep catching snakes on a regular basis. I think the one cat who will hunt snakes on a more regular basis is Leopard. And Tristan was telling me that there was actually a male who you would sometimes find. He himself saw that male on 2 or 3 different python kills, which is quite exceptional. Well, I've not seen lions on a snake kill before. I've seen them interacting with a puff adder, and they will go up and sniff it, but that puff adder gives that warning, and they're very tentative, so they'll often back off. So they don't go looking for trouble when it comes to puff adders, or to any venomous snake. And because they're big cats, they have got quite a limited range that they're very interested in, and one snake is not going to be nearly enough to feed the rest of the pride. And so they focus their attention on the bigger prey species in this area. So that can range from anything from an impala on the smaller end all the way up to giraffe and buffaloes on the bigger scale, on the bigger end of the scale. I was saying a bit earlier, it's quite a peaceful thing to just sit and watch these lions, and the weather's been beautiful. We've been warming up, we've been sitting in the same spot for some time, and it makes me tired. It almost feels like I can just whip out a mattress and sleep on the ground here whilst we wait for something to happen. So Lauren yesterday afternoon had these lions at the waterhole with a herd of elephants coming down, and the weather looks exactly the same, so it might happen. Peter, look, I haven't seen very, very young lions, so I don't know the color of their eyes. I think they tend to be darker, so in the closer to black and dark brown rather than the blue eyes that a leopard can sometimes have. Here come our swallows back. There's 3 of them, so that's them calling that shrill call. And now they are back here. And they seem to find one spot that they particularly enjoy because they keep coming back to it. And they keep digging around the same spot. There they go. Great camera work by Gert. They're following them off in the direction. So, like, we thought, yeah, we easily find them, but they just keep flying further and further away whenever you get close to where you think they might be landing. So Jenny, I don't think all 3 of them are building the nest. We've actually counted 4. So there were only 3 in that instance, but there have been 4 that we have been seeing. So I think it's actually 2 pairs. So they tend to be quite solitary nesters. They don't really nest in big groups like other birds. They'll nest by themselves in a pair, rather than a big colony like a Quelea flock, for example. They nest pretty much on top of one another. A couple of birds now that have landed in the tree straight ahead of us, and they're flying away, obvious. Those were scimitable, common scimitable. Neil, I don't think we've got very many fish species within a water hole like this, and the reason being it dries up quite a lot of the time. And so in water holes like this, you might get some sort of tilapia species, but then you definitely get catfish, and that will be the same throughout all these water holes that will dry up on a seasonal basis. So yeah, I don't think you'll get a big diversity. Where we get the big diversity of fish is in the rivers that flow throughout the whole year. And so there's about 7 of them running predominantly from west to east across the Kruger National Park, so starting at the south all the way up towards the north there. I think there's about 6 or 7 rivers that are permanent. And the one river up in the north is called the Levuhu, and it's probably one of the cleanest and healthiest rivers in the whole Greater Kruger National Park. And there you get quite a few different fish species. One of the cool things that you do find in these big river systems is tigerfish. And they're quite a good sport fish if you're into your fishing. They're a predatory fish who are quite feisty, so they usually put up quite a big fight. So it's one of those fish that if you're a fisherman in southern Africa, it's one that you you long to catch? So I'm just trying to think. I mean, there definitely isn't going to be much more movement from these lions. There's literally just 3 of them left that are out in the open. So I'm trying to think of where we might go from here. And if Lauren has been checking the waterhole, well, she's been at the den site. She's very close to Twin Rivers. So not Twin Dams, not Twin Rivers, so she'll go and check in that area. So we might head, I don't know, I think we might do a loop probably down towards one of the drainage lines and see if we can find tracks of any sign of leopard. We've got the... Yeah. All right. So I think we've exhausted our time here. I'm gonna fall asleep if I watch these lions sleeping for too much longer, and me snoring is probably not the best thing, and it's not something that you'd like to listen to. So I am gonna just reverse out, and we can try and see if we can find tracks. I'd really like to see if we can find tracks of a leopard. It's something that I've been looking for whilst I've been on Djuma, and all the leopards that I've managed to find myself, I think it's just 2 of them, and we've literally just turned around the corner and bumped into them. So now it's time to try and put some tracking skill to work and see if we can find tracks of a leopard and follow the tracks and figure out where it's going, and see if we can find the leopard by tracking.
The Masai Mara in Kenya is an iconic wilderness filled with life. Its inspirational beauty has captivated our hearts on WildEarth for many years. While this season of the world's greatest migration has been missed, WildEarth is preparing a spectacular comeback in 2022. For the first time ever, WildEarth will be running expeditions to Kenya's Masai Mara throughout the 2022 migration season. Hosted by David Githu and Isaac Rotich, you could be a part of the team that shares the Wildebeest migration with the world, live on WildEarth's daily safaris. If you're interested, then head over to our website to find out more. We all have a busy schedule and a lifestyle which is confined to stress and tensions. For so many of us, the hustle and bustle of a tedious life has meant we have lost our inner peace. Traveling is an ultimate remedy that lets us unwind and helps us experience peace in the lap of nature. WildEarth encourages the benefits of travel by giving away an amazing prize every month.
I was totally overwhelmed to receive this fantastic prize of 3 nights at Chitwa Chitwa. WildEarth has been a lifesaver for us during the pandemic and has kept us sane. Thank you so very much, WildEarth.
Sign up to be an explorer today, and it could be you jetting off on an all-expenses-paid-for safari experience. WildEarth Explorers. It's in your nature.
This is a battle of 2 great carnivores of the African wilderness. Whew. Whoa! You don't want to be under those jaws. Definitely, this round goes to the lion. Look at that. Fantastic.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
We are bumbling now. I would have really liked to have just stayed there and finished off the mission of ribbon. But we shall try again a little bit later. But bumble we go. And this is how close the den is to Twin Dams. Twin Dams is right there. And it's really not far. I mean, it's off in the block naturally, but not by much. We are going to go down into the Mulwati. And see if we can get lucky down here. It is believed that Shasha is still on the property. But as to where, I do not know. His movements are very random right now. River cruising. My favorite place to drive. I'll just sit and admire the views in the Mulwati for a minute or two. Okay, we're slowly going to make our way up the river, the dry riverbed, and hopefully arrive at the Wicks house.
Okay, well, we have found those leopard tracks that I was so desperately wanting to find. And there's tracks of a male leopard. So the dam that we've just left, those lines, is directly behind us. And these leopard tracks go straight up the road. And I'll try and see, it might be a bit of a tricky angle, but the track is here. So it's roughly, what's that about? It's about this big. And that probably shows us that it's a young male leopard that's been moving through this area. The only thing though is we have tracks of it here, and then right next to it is a vehicle track. Who it might have swerved to have a look at the tracks, and the tracks are the vehicle tracks then carry on along the road and drive on top of the leopard track. So it will make it quite tricky for us because we won't be able to follow the tracks track by track, which means seeing where it cuts off the road will be a bit harder. But at least we know that somewhere in the last 12 hours there's been a leopard moving through this area. And 12 hours is a long time for a leopard to move around and make our job of tracking and finding him quite tricky. But let's head in the area. I mean, we've got some time to kill, and so we can just take it nice and slowly and just try and see if we can get lucky. So what it will be doing at this stage of the day is, I would imagine, pretty much exactly the same as what the lions are doing. Sleeping, resting, saving and conserving energy, trying to get out of the heat. So what we'll do is just, we know that this is his last direction, and we'll just keep on checking roads and junctions. So there's mitre drains in this area that cut off. He could have walked along the road and then decided to peel off the road in that way. Can actually see, I think this vehicle this morning must have seen the leopard tracks too, because when you are driving in this area and you see tracks on the road, your natural instinct is to just put the vehicle slightly off the main part of the track so you can see which way the track is heading, and maybe see there. So now at this junction, it's not really a junction, it's more of a bend in the road, this leopard took a shortcut. So it was on the right hand side of the track, and instead of following the right hand side, it just cut along the corner, and here you can see it. So now it's joined up on the left hand side of the road. And this view, this earpiece sometimes blocks my hearing a bit, and I heard some, thought it was a growl, but it's actually imparted, and it was their footsteps as they were moving away from us. So this is actually quite a good thing, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it here, but it's just an idea to age it. Stacey, I don't think so, you know. I think leopards move around constantly, so if there probably are leopards on Djuma, we just haven't got the skill set yet to know intricately where they are all the time. But I'm working on it, don't you worry. But this over here, so we've got a leopard track, and then there's a smaller animal that has also walked past here, it's walking in the opposite direction, and it's from a genet. Genets, we know, are nocturnal, and they tend to move around in the dark part of the night, and this genet has walked directly on top of the leopard track. So although that leopard track looked nice and crisp and quite fresh, it's actually from a bit earlier on in the night than I would have expected. So that's quite a good thing to know. So we know that it would have probably walked quite a lot further. But walking still in this direction, so at least we've got the track still, and it might just be a case of figuring out which area it's moved into, and then we can try and come back in the evening and try and drive that particular area. And when a leopard like this leopard has been doing, walking on a road, gives us an insight into what it was trying to achieve. And these roads are like highways for animals. It's essentially a big game path for them, and it's often the quickest way to get from one point to another. And so they make use of these roads very often to do exactly that, to move from A to B in the most direct and fastest route. And the advantage of walking on a road like this is that it's much quieter. So in this area, and you'll be able to see around us, all of this grass is still dry, which means that when you're walking through this area, it will rustle a lot more. So the impalas that were just here on the left-hand side stand a much better chance of spotting this leopard, or hearing it and then spotting it. And so these roads are quite tricky sometimes because they go through different substrates. So this section here is harder, and I know that trying to see a track on this section of the road is quite a lot trickier than perhaps what the next section is, but we still need to just take it slowly. And if we lose the tracks, then what we'll do is just go back to the last set of tracks we had and try and follow them step by step by step. Yeah, so more cat luck, more spotted cat luck. We've had really good lion luck over the last couple of drives. So what we need to do is not only cross fingers, but hold thumbs. Any of those superstitions, you must do them so we can try and track this leopard down. So again, it's quite tricky, not only because it's hard, but there's lots of elephant dung, which doesn't leave the best tracks, and then there's sticks and old grass, so it's obstructing the softer sand. I'll move into, so this is a junction, so let me go and stop at this junction here quickly. And I'll spend some time looking around on each of the tracks. There's some impala. And so just be patient with me whilst I spend some time looking for tracks of this leopard to see where he's gone.
The WildEarth channel now runs for 24 hours a day and is filled with exciting wildlife experiences for the whole family. In addition to our twice daily live safaris from Africa, we launched Sea Forest. Free divers explore the great African kelp forest under the water in Cape Town, while naturalists on the surface explain what we are seeing in real time. Our Escape to Nature series features exceptional wildlife footage throughout the day, and here you can immerse yourself in the sights and sounds of nature. And finally, a brand new penguin experience where you can follow the lives of a group of African penguins daily and in real time. If you want to join in on these experiences, then head over to wildearth.tv/channel to see where you can watch. Escape to nature with WildEarth. The Mara Triangle is a jewel in the Kenyan conservation crown, and thanks to the dedication of the Mara Conservancy, it thrives as one of Earth's greatest national treasures.
We have been experiencing a reduction in the whale snails that we collect on a monthly basis, and this is basically attributed to our intense patrols.
Over the years, this courageous team of anti-poachers has reduced poaching to almost zero.
Mimi naitwa Stephen Olereso. Nimefanya kazi miaka 16 sasa. Kuanzia miaka 2002. Hao wanadamu ni wenye utua sana inaogofya ni wale wenye wanaenda kama ndovu. Wanatumia kama bunduki. Sasa hiyo ndio huwa inakuanga hatari sana kwa sisi.
As a result of the global pandemic and the massive reduction in tourist revenue, the Mara Triangle is facing a financial crisis. They need your help if they are to continue their ability to protect this magical land.
Looks like it's a very difficult climb because every time it tries to climb, the ground is breaking, so it slides down. But it's the only one. Look at that. That is the call of desperation with the cub. It's like, what are you doing, mommy? Oops! Oof!
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Lo and behold, Mrs. Wig is here. Doing her usual. And that's the thing with visiting moms. If you really want to see the cubs and you really want to see, you have to put the time in. Even if it's boring for a little while, you have to put that time in or you're not going to catch the activity. We got really, really lucky with ribbon yesterday. The timing was spot on. I think it was you that said that, Michael. But you've really got to put time in, especially when you're searching for dens or you're waiting for chicks. I remember spending an entire drive with Mrs. Wig 2 years ago now. The full 3 hours with this owl trying to get a view of the chick. And you can't just arrive, have a look, and then leave again. It doesn't work like that. You've got to put the time in. And naturally, I don't think the chicks have hatched yet. I think she's very much still incubating. I wasn't here then, but I think on around 23rd of September, one of the presenters here found her incubating, so she could have technically laid her eggs before that, and it is around a month. It is around the 30-day mark. So if you want to see something, you got to put the time in. And naturally, there are a lot of babies around right now. It's amazing. It's spring. Spring is 100% here. I think there's something I love more about spring than summer, but we're going to have to wait. We're going to have to spend hours with Mrs. Wig in order to get a view of the chick. We're going to have to spend hours at the den if we want to see these things. What's the date today? The 13th. okay, so we're not too far off, I don't think. She's just amazing. She really is the coolest. Eric was beaming from ear to ear last night when he was telling me about his introduction to Mrs. Wig, and that's how happy she made him. Because it's not usual, really, out in the wild to get such close eye-level views of an incubating mother like this, especially of an owl. And one that is so habituated, because we've habituated her over time. She really is not fussed about our presence. She knows we're not going to harm her. We're maybe slightly annoying, if anything. But she's really, really not bothered. And look how that wing just blends in. It just slopes down and blends into the surroundings. And if she was bothered by our presence, she would open her eyes, she would look towards us, she would maybe even stand up, react, maybe shuffle from side to side. And she's not even moved. That's because she knows we're just part of her daily life. We're just this thing that cruises by and has a little look and then leaves again. Preston, you're very excited for all the babies. I know, and we've already got lucky with the little hippo. I'm going to visit the hippo this afternoon for sure. I have my to-do list every day. Now includes the hyena den, Mrs. Wig, baby hippo. And Kuchava's cub, I'm determined to get a sighting of Kuchava's cub. It's not going to be easy, but we'll get there. We've seen the Nkuhuma cubs, all 7 of them. We've had wonderful sightings with them. Kalamba's a bit of a mystery right now, but I'm going to work on it. I'll team up with Rexon. He's coming back. If anyone can figure out Kalamba, it's Rexon. She can barely even open her eyes. Okay, we're going to slowly bumble out of the Mowati now and see what else we can find.
Welcome back on Bushwalk. We've just given up on our elephants. They've just been too fast for us and we've not been able to keep up with them. We now stopped and we decided to take a break and look at this beautiful torchwood. It's also known as a green thorn because of the green spines that it has on the tip of the branches, which is there to protect it against browsers. We don't find that a lot of animals will feed on it. However, sometimes you'll see some of the tips of the branches are broken off by elephants. And then one of the things that elephants do like is the fruit of this tree. And I just found some of these old seed pods in the dung of an elephant over here. So it's very likely that elephants are responsible for also dispersing these seeds. And we also find in some cases some plant species have become dependent on elephants to actually assist with the germination of a seed, as it needs to pass through the gut of the elephant to facilitate the germination process. The alternative name for this plant is also known as a torchwood, and the reason why it's called a torchwood is that these little kernels and seeds also hold a very high oil content, and this is used like miniature little candles. We also find that the fruit, when green, can often be used for actually being put, and that will kill off any parasites inside the water, especially things such as bilharzia, which can affect humans dramatically, and that makes the water then safe to drink. It's also known to actually kill tadpoles and even some species of fish. There's a few other interesting uses for this plant, and we often find that the roots of this plant can be used as an enema. So basically what an enema is something that you use for cleaning out your bowels. But in Zulu culture, it's also often used by taking parts of the root, also some of the bark, and mixing it with a number of different plant parts and to water and then that will be soaked. And the water then will be beaten into a froth, and that is then used to ward off evil spirits. Not the only plant species in this area that gets used for warding off evil. We also find the bushwalk is also often a plant that's planted outside homesteads, specifically for the purpose of keeping evil spirits away. The wood itself is also fairly hard, and it's also used for quite a wide range of different implements, such as hoes as well as axe handles. It's even been used in the past for rifle. Hopefully in the next few weeks we'll start seeing these trees actually making small little flowers, which is quite pretty. And also then from there we can enjoy the fruit as soon as they are ripe. Oh, we're going to move on and go and see what else we can go and find. As we move off, let's go and see what Eric is up to.
Yeah, so obviously with that crossing over the boundary, we now had to shift our plans and our attention to a slightly different area. And we drove past another vehicle who said that he had, or someone had called in tracks of another leopard quite close to one of the other boundaries. So now we actually go see anything and any tracks crossing in. Yeah, so I guess we will just have to wait and see. And remember, I keep telling you about these terminalias, and I should really come to the same tree if we're trying to make it as scientific as possible. So I'll see if I can look for a terminalia to show you, but whilst we're looking for one of those trees, let's go across to Lauren.
Whoa, there's way more than I thought there was. Okay, I'm just going to position for Davi. Can you work with this? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow, vultures riding the thermals. Happiness, a warm air rising, cool air sinking creates thermal air pockets. This is amazing. But why are you all here? Nice work, Dobby. This is just amazing. And there are so many of them. Now they are just riding the thermals, heavy birds making the use of these air pockets to save energy, but just the fact that they're all here in one area does make me a bit suspicious. Wow. This is special. Wow, they're right above us now. Dobby's literally got the camera at full tilt. This is so cool. Rory, I'm not really familiar with vulture sounds. They can make a sort of hissing sound at each other. Pew, pew. Black back, puff back in the background. That's not a vulture. I can't get over this. I think they're mostly whitebacks. They follow lions. They don't obviously have to follow them directly, but they spend most of their days just following lions. So as soon as a lion makes a kill, they're on it. Leopards, not so much. Just putting Dobby through his paces. Need to challenge our cameraman here when it comes to birds. That was really cool. Love vultures. And they're happy. They finally got the lift they needed to get into the air. They don't stay too far away from one another. They don't stray. Why? Because once one spot's killed, they all arrive. Like a domino effect. They're still soaring, and obviously there are lots of lions around this area. I'm not saying specifically here, but they've got such great eyesight that they can see from far, but they're still on the tails of the lions. I just wonder how much water Chelapan has. Popped my nose in here in a while. No, 0 by the looks of it. Not a single drop to drink. I think the elephants are probably the reason that the water did not last long there. But that's Chelapan, a natural little pan that will be full in summer. And it's the reason Chela got her name, the lioness. She actually named, I found 4, the Incohuma lioness, I found 4 of her tiny little baby cubs just there in that thicket, right next to Chelapan. And they were the smallest lion cubs I've ever seen. And that's why she was called Chela, after Chelapan. I think it's a lovely name. Karen, I'm definitely not. Summer brings the rains. The dams are going to get full. They're dry right now. The Chelapan's empty. Pan on Pangolin track. What's the name of that pan, Dov?
I don't think it's got a name.
Yeah, I also don't think it's got a name. It should have a name. Pangolin pan. Pangolin track pan. It's also dry. The twin of Twin Dams is dry. Gory pan is dry. all the little pans along Impala Plains are dry. It's because it's winter. So summer is moist, it's humid, the rains come, and they we were taking a log home because we liked it and it fell. Never mind. And the dams will be full. There'll be water everywhere. There'll be so much moisture just from the vegetation alone that a lot of the animals won't even need to visit water holes. But because it'll be so hot, that sort of offsets the amount of moisture. They can risk dehydration. So they will visit water holes, but there will be moisture everywhere. In the vegetation, in the air, on the ground, in puddles, in pans, in water holes. Summer is lush with life, and it's all due to water. So right now lots of the pans are dry, but I haven't checked on Chilipan in a while, and it's definitely dry. Okay, we're going to keep bumbling towards Gowrie Dam, I think. Let's see what else we can find.
Do you dream of traveling to a far-flung wilderness location where life continues as normal? A place where you can escape to nature and breathe. If you become a WildEarth explorer, then this could soon become a reality. Subscribe today and stand a chance to win regular travel prizes. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Okay, there's another big male coming in from our left here. Another big male, look at this. This is the one. Now you're going to see sparks fly, guys. Guys, it doesn't get better than this, eh? Yes, unbelievable. Africa, I love you, eh?
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
I love being a cam up for WildEarth. The animals coming right up close to you, especially like lions. Sometimes you get nervous, but you have to go with the flow. My favorite animal to film is the elephant because of how big it is. But when it's really up close to you, it's one animal that you would say, I really respect you.
Hi, I'm Mike Anderson, and I come to you live every day from Eco-Training Pridelands Conservancy in South Africa. The wild animal I think is most underrated. I think buffaloes are the most underrated. They're so tenacious and ferocious, and also very, very protective of each other, which I find incredible. You know, sometimes people think of the big five, they just think of lions and leopards and other big animals, but I think buffaloes are pretty underrated.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
We are taking a nice slow bumble to the other side of Djuma to see if there is anything leopard related, and we're driving on a road that hasn't been driven this morning because there's Jennet tracks on top of the vehicle tracks. But we did come along and stumble across these beautiful little flowers and plants, and they're unique because I mean this one is white, but it looks like it's, I mean, if you go a bit further back, there's some that are like a violet-y color, so they really are pretty. And this is the stalk, and then they've got these leaves, and it always only grows out at the top. And so they've got the name baboon's tail because, I mean, that's pretty much exactly what they look like. But these are these stems here are very fire resistant, and so if you were to put a fire through this area, And this would pretty much be the only thing that would be left. So all of the grass around us, all of the dry material would be burnt, and this would be left. And the bushmen back in the day actually used to use these baboon trails to transport coal. So because they are so fire resistant, they don't burn, obviously. So you'd cut it, and you'd put the coal in the baboon's tail, and you could carry it to the next location where you decide to start the fire. So it's nice to see that they're here again. Another sign of summer. The flowers are starting to come out. So it's really starting to get to that very pretty time of year. And like I was saying, we are on a road that hasn't been explored this morning. So we might be able to find some interesting tracks along here. So again, it's just worth taking it really nice and slow. Just seeing if we can find anything in particular. So we are just, like I say, we're not going to go any faster than what we're driving now, but why don't we send you across to Lauren, who's got some feathered friends.
I think we have a tawny eagle. It is the most beautiful coloration I have possibly ever seen in my 3 years. It's one of the most beautiful birds I've ever seen. It's a creamy beige, delicious color. I think it's a tawny. With the tawnies, naturally they're true eagles. So the feathers go all the way down. They've got quite a shallow gape, which means that yellow line, you see that yellow line coming from the beak? It's quite shallow, meaning it doesn't go past the eye, it just meets the eye. Wow, look at that color. But they come in different color morphs, so you get the dark morph, the pale morph, and everything in between. So this is definitely a pale morph. It's like coffee and hot chocolate and caramel and toffee all mixed in. But that's how many vultures did we just see, and now we're seeing a tawny in the same area. Should we be suspicious? But most of the lions are accounted for. Oh, wow. I cannot believe how beautiful this bird is. Oh. It's getting bombed. Drongo. You guys are too brave. Whoa. Poor Tony. Tony's like, I just want to chillax, guys. I'm really not causing any trouble. I think it's the most beautiful tawny eagle I've ever seen. I know I keep saying that, but it really is. Look at the thick legs. See the feather? It knows it's been bombed by the drongos. It's watching them. It's just amazing how brave these drongos are. They really do not care that Tony is like 100 times bigger than them and equipped with far more dangerous apparatus. And the talons and the beak, they just don't care. It's mobbing behavior. They're trying to get the Tony to go away. But I also have a theory that they kind of enjoy it. I think drongos just enjoy it, the thrill of annoying bigger birds. But that's just a theory. I wish the birds could tell us what's going on. Okay, that was a really cool sight, and I think I'm going to sit here and take a wonderful photo of this beautiful bird.
Here we are. We are on an expedition. This is the expeditionary force. Behind me, we have seen Tlalamba. We are very excited.
With a slew of potential dangers lurking, it's essential to be aware of your surroundings whilst walking in the wilderness.
20 yards away from one of the most endangered species. This is a big bull.
What a moment, what a close encounter with an Ellie bull. He's just over here now. He's moved completely away.
Being on a bushwalk and seeing a leopard, I mean, it's ridiculous to be this close to a leopard on foot and for him not to run is absolutely insane. How crazy was that?
Through the gap there is just the back of the head of a male lion. He is absolutely unaware that we are here right now. I tell you, seeing lions on foot, it definitely brings out the caveman in you, this little scared human being.
I've seen something I've never seen here before. Look at these cubs. One is crossing the river. It's being washed away, unfortunately, but I'm sure the mother is going to save her. Look at that. How beautiful. Look at that. One crossing, two to go. How cool is this?
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Now heading to Gowrie Dam. I'm just so distracted by the amount of raptors in the sky. I think they're following the lions. I really do firmly believe that they follow them. It's visually easy to follow a pride of lions. And then, of course, as soon as the lions make a kill, that's the opportunity. Leopards are not easy to follow, and also they hoist in trees. That's not easy, but lions are. And I feel like because there are so many lions around this area right now, that's why all these birds are just keeping an eye on them, following them. Unbelievable. It's amazing how species utilize other species out here. Can understand another species in order to benefit yourself. Is really quite incredible. Now we're going to give you views of Gowrie Dam. I know the dam cam is still not working. Oh, impala. Wunderbar. And they're obviously standing in the shade. Very smart, guys, very smart. And really, we even struggle for shade. There just is not much shade out here. Oh, there's an impala going to drink at that panda. Look. The pumped pan. There is water here because it's put there. Obviously, the lodge is in the background, but that's okay. She's nervous. Look, it's not. See? Nope. We're not comfortable yet. We're going for it slowly, slowly. No, see, not sure. Doesn't trust. The wind is blowing. Just not feeling sure that it's safe to drink yet. Waiting for more to come. Can you believe that it's such a mission to just go drink some water? I mean, Patrick, I don't drink the water from either sources. I really couldn't possibly. We're going for it. Like, we're gone. Possibly really answer that. I would imagine so. Purely based on the fact that it's actively pumped. It's not entirely stagnant. It's aerated, if you like. It's quite clean. Whereas the water in the dams is quite stagnant. We had an incredible elephant sighting yesterday where it was actually one of the best elephant sightings I've had this year. And the elephants were just pooping everywhere in the water. Hippos defecate in the water, so really there's a lot of nutrients in there with bacterial growth and algae, and it could definitely make the water taste not so pleasant. So I would guess so, but I couldn't possibly answer that. I'm happy to taste both this afternoon. I'll go on a tasting mission. Probably end up quite sick at the end of it. But I think so. But animals definitely choose water based on different factors. So elephants are very fussy. They're very fussy where they drink water. If they really don't like the water around. Have you seen these ones fighting? Toffee. It's just young boys. Yoo. Boys be boys. But yes, elephants are very fussy. If they really can't find clean water, they will dig for it. They will spend time digging for it because they don't want to drink dirty water. And impala will make their decisions based on safety. They need water, full stop. So they're going to choose the dam and the water point where it's open, they can see all around, it's safe, there's no predators. So different species will choose visiting water holes for different reasons. It won't solely be taste, but elephants will be. They're very, very fussy. I'm glad the Inkohumas are still around. Got to see Missy's wig. Wonderful things on bushwalk, and of course time spent with Ribbon. Or get the cubs. We just need to put a little bit of time in. I'm just thrilled to see her, to be honest. Boys, what are you up to? But it has been yet another fantastic morning. The sightings are just... The bush is alive. And I'm going to try and visit the little hippo in Chitwa Dam this afternoon. It's one of my many plans. But as we end the sunrise safari, I must just say thank you to you all for jumping on board. It's always a pleasure to take you on a bumble, and I really hope to see you this afternoon. Until then, goodbye.